this is an exciting feeling because I have the desire to record a video for this channel multiple times a week. And I was on the fence about recording this video because I was feeling a little bit tired. And then I got an email from Sarah, who watched the last video and really enjoyed it. And those emails really inspire me. So I want to start off by saying that since I'm not reading the comments right now, emails from you mean the world to me. And I don't know if you feel more comfortable leaving a comment than sending an email. If it's the other way around, please email me. And if not, maybe you'll get the courage to email me, because I read it all and it really, really motivates me to do these videos. So thank you, Sarah, for encouraging it, because, it's funny, when I put out a video on this channel, I feel so vulnerable and I enjoy that vulnerability. I think that's what makes this channel, but it's uncomfortable to be vulnerable sometimes. Sometimes I question myself and the things that I say, and I start to worry that I come across a certain way and all these things that go on. And I think that this video tonight is about not worrying about that so much. I was driving home from being out with my friends. If you don't follow me on Snapchat, you may want to, because you'll experience those little intimate things that I do throughout my day, and it's just Eco Vegan Gal as the handle. And my friends wanted to take me out for my birthday, and it is an old friend that I hadn't spent a lot of time with in the past couple years, and I wondered if our friendship would start up again, and thankfully it did, and we came right back to where we were before. And now she's got this amazing man in her life, and he's incredible. It's very rare for me to really love my female friends, male partners, boyfriends, husbands, whoever they may be. I'm very skeptical of them, and it's just extremely rare for me to feel comfortable and open and happy around a guy that my friend is dating or with. And it's so special that I felt like I've known this guy for years, and now he's actually bringing out even better sides of my friend, and it's just a beautiful gift. So that's not really what this video is about, but I think that's really important to note. And so being around them felt so uplifting. I spent about 3 hours with them tonight. We had such a great time. We went to one of my favorite restaurants in LA called Gracias Madre. It's an organic vegan Mexican restaurant, and we just ate food, and we had some drinks and desserts, and we laughed, and it's food for the soul. So my heart feels really full. But what's interesting is that today I felt very powerful, which is exciting for me, because I feel like, as I have been alluding to in some of these videos I've been doing lately, I have been going through such a transformation in 2016, and I'm starting to see what's coming out of that. It's kind of like coming out of a cocoon, it's this butterfly, and it's really, really exciting. I feel like I'm just beginning to crack through and seeing who I'm becoming. Where did I want to go with this? I was listening. Oftentimes when I'm driving, I listen to podcasts. I like to spend my time very wisely. I like to learn a lot. I listen to a lot of business podcasts. And today I felt like I really just wanted to listen to music. So even when I was getting ready, a lot of times I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll watch a business related video or something then, but I just wanted to dance. I wanted to feel some really good music that was going to move me, literally, but emotionally. And it's amazing how I was feeling this music, and I did my makeup. I spent a little bit more time doing my makeup and put on one of my new favorite dresses, and I felt so physically strong and powerful. And being around those friends and all of this momentum that's been bringing it up. And I started to realize that 2016 is so much about not holding back anymore. And it's funny to say that, because so much in my life I've wanted really big things, and I haven't wanted to hold myself back, but I have been in a lot of ways. I have been because I'm very sensitive to the energy of other people. So what has happened for a good part of my life, I don't know if this is part of my personality or if it's just simply a habit, is letting other people, I almost want to say control me, but that's not entirely true, but letting other people influence me in terms of their thoughts, their wants, their needs, their feelings, all of those desires. And I've spent a lot of time in my life trying to adapt myself to be what other people want of me. And I think that's part of the reason YouTube has been really challenging, and this channel has felt really opening, but also scary, is that this channel is one of the only places where I feel completely myself, because this is kind of like my I don't give a shit channel. You either like it or you don't. You're either here for me or you're not. Whereas my other channels, for so long, I tried to make them about what I think what people would like. And I remember when I started this channel, it actually was super vulnerable from the very beginning because I just didn't think anybody was going to watch. I didn't even talk about this channel. And it's just so funny how this channel has stuck around for so long, and it's interesting to me that I felt comfortable being vulnerable, and I feel like you have only skimmed the surface because there's so much about me that I want to open up about, and maybe this year I will finally just talk more freely and really get to the root of it without worrying about people judging me or people criticizing or any of that, which I've allowed to get in my way. And I think what I started to realize tonight is that I want to come into my power, and I want to go after the things that I really want in life, which is something that I've done a good amount of, but I've also really not fully expressed that. Because what I've done a lot is I've said, okay, this is what I want. And I'll often go and ask other people if they think it's possible. And if they don't think it's possible, then I'll lower my expectations, or I should say that I have in the past, not the present. I have shifted what I thought was possible or what I thought I should do because of what other people thought. And because I've done so much reading recently, I mean, I am like reading like crazy, in the past like 3 or 4 months, or and again past year or so, I've just been like deeply into reading, and I see time and time again so much advice against this, and as I said in the last video, this is the stuff that I would never advise to other people, and yet I've learned that I was in the habit of doing that. I have been in the habit of worrying so much about what other people think, what other people want, worrying about pleasing them, wanting to be good enough, wanting to do all these things, and knowing that it's been holding me back, but somehow not figuring out how to break through that. And tonight, while I was driving home from my friends, I was feeling so elated, and I was listening to some great music, and I found myself just thinking about all of these things that I want, and just saying, like, I want to go and get those. Like, I don't want to even think that those can't happen. And that, to me, is where it really starts to get interesting. Because recently, as I've opened up my mind, as I've started to go after things and honestly just think about things that I want and believe in them, they started to happen. And I want to start keeping track of them because I feel like it's becoming more and more frequent as I become more powerful in my thoughts and more secure in myself. Great example, but kind of like a superficial one, is I entered an Instagram contest when I was at the Natural Products Expo for a free Apple iWatch. And I just found out a few days ago that I won it. So I'm going to have an Apple iWatch. I'm really, really excited about it. And I remember thinking when I was entering this contest, like, I want to think positively. I want to believe that I can win this, not sit there and go, oh, this probably isn't going to happen. Because the thing is it's so common for people to say that. It's so common for us to shut ourselves down, protect ourselves basically, by saying, well, I'm going to do it, I'm going to try, but it's probably not going to happen, so I'm not really attached to the results. Where the truth is that what good does that do us? What that really ends up doing is just guarding ourselves. And when we guard ourselves, we can't fully express ourselves. We don't even know what the full potential is of things. It's like when you see somebody that really wants something, they go for it, whatever the risks may be. And usually when people really go for it that way, they get what they want. What happens with the majority of people, which is just so common, is either they don't go for it at all. That's probably the most common thing. I'm generalizing here, but that's what I've observed. And then the people that do go for it, it's very common for there to be a lot of hesitancy. There's very common for people to protect themselves and say, well, I don't really, I'm not attached to it. In fact, I heard a really good podcast interview about this. I think it was with Michael Port. I'm trying to think of what interview, where he was being interviewed. Maybe it was Pat Flynn. If I can remember, I will look it up and put a link to it. Michael Port's actually a fantastic person to listen to, very motivational. I first heard him through an interview on the Creative Live podcast. Hopefully I'll remember to put these things down for you. If not, you can email me or message me online and remind me to add it into the description. But Michael Port has a lot of wise things to say. He specializes in helping people become great public speakers. And I think it was in that Pat Flynn interview where he said that as an actor, he would find that if he went after a role and said to himself or said out loud to friends, I don't really care if I get it or not, what would happen is in his audition, he would not really go for it because he kept telling himself it didn't matter if he got it or not. He was okay if he didn't get it. So what do you think happens? Like that kind of sends this confusing message to the universe. And the universe says, well, you don't want it that badly. I'll give it to somebody else. And I think energetically that really does start to happen in our lives because we're so afraid of being let down, because we're so afraid that things aren't going to happen. And this seems very logical to me now. And maybe I've been processing it for a while, but I don't think I felt it as fully as I did tonight. And that's why I wanted to do this video. But even then I hesitated. Even then I wasn't thinking of doing this video. And now that I am, I'm like, how could I not do this video? How can I not do this video tonight, just like an hour after I had those feelings? It's not just a reminder for me, it's for you as well. Michael Port then went on to say, but when he went into auditions, really wanting it, really going for it, that's when he would get them. So it's kind of like that old idea that you're never going to know if you don't really try. So a lot of us kind of like to find that happy medium. We're like, oh, I'll try, but I'm not going to try as hard as I possibly could. That's too risky. And that means that great big things aren't going to happen. That means there's always going to be part of us that feels unfulfilled. There's always going to be part of us wondering, well, what if I had given it my all? And it actually feels amazing to give your all into something. That in itself compensates for any letdowns you might have. And the thing with letdowns is if you don't get what you really want, it's almost okay because you know you really tried. Versus if you didn't give it your all, you're always going to wonder what would have happened if you had. One thing that comes to mind is I remember in 2013, I put myself out there for a few things. One was for the Ford Fiesta movement. Ford had approached me, asked me to apply for this, and I remember like evaluating everything. That's a strength and a challenge for me is that I love to analyze. And so I'll just like look for every detail. I want to figure everything out. I want to plan it. I want to strategize everything. And I remember researching this and thinking, whoa, I'm up against some pretty hardcore competition. I don't know if I stand a chance. But I went for it and I got it. And that Ford Fiesta movement was one of the best things that's happened to me in my career. Simultaneously, right around the same time, I auditioned for Jason Robel's TV show, How to Live to 100. They were looking for someone to play his love interest in the show. And Jason and I are great friends, and I thought this was great. So I auditioned for it, and I think I went for it. You know, in hindsight, I probably could have done it even more. But I was nervous. I'm not in the practice of auditioning for like TV shows and stuff like that. But there's part of me that really does want to do more of that, and that's hard for me. Auditioning is very, very uncomfortable for me, and I pushed through it a few times. When I was living in San Francisco, I would audition for things, and I didn't get them. I felt the rejection. It was uncomfortable, but I'm really glad that I did do it. So those are interesting examples because I know that I haven't fully flourished as an actress, for example, because part of me doesn't really feel attached or doesn't feel that strong desire. But then I have to admit that there's part of me that just wonders, what if? I've had a dream of being an actress since I was a little kid, and I kind of gave up on it because other people told me I couldn't do it. Other people told me that it was too hard. Now, fortunately, my whole career where I am right now developed out of that because so many people told me that it was too hard to be an actress. I don't know if anyone ever said, don't do it. I think they just painted it as a very, very challenging thing, and I began to believe that it was so challenging I shouldn't even bother. That was my own filter. What I did instead, though, is I picked up the camera and I started filming myself. I started making my own videos, and I started doing this at a very, very young age. And that's basically what led me to film school, and that's what led me to YouTube, and all of these things just kept happening as a result. So sometimes it's messy, and sometimes even when we don't give it our all, it can still work out for us, because maybe when we don't give it our all, that means that we don't actually want it. I think that's the other key here, is that you have to tap into yourself, tune into yourself and say, am I not doing this simply because I'm afraid? Or am I not giving my all because I don't really, really want it? That's really a big question there. But it's a deep one because a lot of times we say we don't want something, we really do. So we have to really get to know ourselves. And that's what I've been doing a lot of in the past year, is getting to know myself, is reading so much, so many different theories. Like I keep talking about Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. I need to reread that. It's been almost a year. Or Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist was great for that. Gabrielle Bernstein, like there's all these people that I'm just really absorbing now to really get in tune with who I am and what I really want at the core. And that's really the root of what came out tonight. Was I found myself saying, oh my gosh, like there's all these things that I really want, what I want to do, what I want to experience. And along the way, I've convinced myself that I can't have it. I've convinced myself that it's too hard, that it's too rare, that I'm not deserving, that I'm not good enough. And none of that is true. Life is something that, the way that we live, I should say, is something that we as humans have mainly made up. I mean, we create ourselves in a way, but there's a magic to life and nature and all of these things that happen beyond our control. But so much of life, the time that we have in between when we're born and when we die, most of that time is within our control. Most of what we do in that time is within our control, I should say. The decisions. Most of the decisions that we have in life, and whether they work out one way or another, those have something to do with another person. There's another person on the end of most of our decisions. And that's where the logic comes into play, is when you think something's impossible, if another person is involved on the other end, of course it's possible. They're human just like you are. And this idea that we're not good enough or that we can't have it is so silly, because the other person on the other end might feel the exact same way. So if two people are feeling like it's impossible, two people feel like it's not going to happen, it's not. So the magic is really when you find other people who both believe in it. And saying that just brings me chills. That lights me up, because I realized tonight that's what I really want. I want to surround myself with more people who believe in it. And honestly, that is the root of a lot of the work that I'm doing right now. My Creative Wealth course is all about working with people who believe in their ability to monetize their passions, to do their passions full time. And it's so thrilling to have those people and help those people work through, help those people believe in themselves. I feel like that's a huge role of mine. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing with that EvG Pal, project that I'm slowly working on is really about surrounding myself with other people that are on the same level. As I've mentioned in so many videos, especially recently, I'm exhausted fighting against or dealing with people that simply, my screen just went dark. Come back. And now nothing wants to work. I hope you can still hear me. This would be sad. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I've been talking for so long. My computer turned off. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So with EvG Pal, it's like, I want to surround myself with positive people who are after the same vision, want the same thing, because I believe that that's where the power is. I believe that's how change gets made. I believe that that's how things really start to feel good. Another great example that I've been wanting to talk about but don't really know how to express fully yet is a few days ago, I went to a Bernie Sanders rally. And I certainly don't mean for this to get too political. I'm still finding my comfort level when it comes to political discussions. So if you are not a Bernie Sanders fan, bear with me because there's a point beyond Bernie Sanders here. I knew a little bit about him, and I was very curious to go to this rally. There was an interesting reaction as soon as I found out that this was happening. I thought, I got to go see if I can get into this. I felt very determined in a way that I didn't quite expect, because it wasn't like I was a diehard Bernie fan. So I went to this rally in LA, and it was such an amazing experience. It was like part of me knew that I needed to go there. I got there, and there was a line forming. It was 2 big blocks in LA, and the line wrapped almost entirely around. So thousands of people. I don't know. I wish I could have gotten a count, but there were so many people there. And I got there when I thought was kind of early, but really I was like on the later side. So I was like almost all the way at the end. And I stood in line thinking, I really would like to get into this. So there was that contrast again where I was thinking, well, I don't want to be too attached to the outcome because I don't want to be disappointed. But I also had to fight through that and say, I'm determined to get into this. But I also want to take it as a route of calm determination, as opposed to like fighting for it and strategizing and all this stuff that I might do otherwise. I thought, I'm just going to let it happen. And so I got in line and I tried to drop some expectations while still focusing on the outcome that I wanted. And I started to just appreciate being in the present moment of that line. It was a warm night, the sun was still shining, and there were the most incredible people in line. So for about an hour and a half, I stood there in line. I was wearing wedges, so it's kind of like up on high heels, and I was trying to like relax into the comfort or discomfort and just observe everybody and listen into the conversations, tune in to all the things. And I heard so many interesting things from people. I saw so many different types of people. I was just truly amazed and fascinated by everything around me. And long story short, I ended up getting into the rally because of some magical experience of finding somebody at the front of the line. So I skipped the line, which I don't know how ethical that was, but that was part of the determination to get in there. And I remember just being so grateful to get into this because not everybody in line got in. There was probably only a few thousand people in this small, beautiful, intimate theater. It's called the Wiltern. And I'd never been there before. I'd always wanted to go there. And there I was. I got in for free. I got in despite many people not getting in. And I got to see this politician that I'm feeling very interested in talk. And it was fantastic. But part of the reason I bring this up is not just about the manifestation of making it happen. It's not just about the amazing people. Well, actually, the main reason I brought this up is because the people there, I felt more influenced by the people that were there than Bernie himself. I think Bernie's great. I'm becoming a big fan of his, but the people that are there supporting Bernie are my type of people. Those are the people I want to be around. And that is always a very good sign when you find your people. So it was a magical night. And I think that is my next focus, is to find my people, is to surround myself with people that have that vibrational energy of we can do this. In fact, when I left the Bernie Sanders event, there was a huge group of people in front. Maybe they were waiting for Bernie to come out or something. And just like you could barely walk through this mob of people in front of the theater. And all of a sudden they started chanting, "I believe that we can win." You know, because Bernie Sanders is kind of an underdog. And it was so cool, like the positivity of people saying, we believe in this. We know that Bernie's the underdog, but we really believe that if all of us came together, we can make this happen. So I guess that is the message of this video, right? Is there is power in our thought. There is power in us finding our own power and doing something about it. About us going after what we really love despite the odds. Because we have no idea. In most cases, we have absolutely no control about what happens, so we might as well go for it. That is where the most exciting, beautiful things happen in life. So, if this sounds like something that you really resonate with, I think you're really going to like what I'm working on with EvG Pal. I think it's going to become much bigger than my initial plan with it. And this whole energy that I'm tapping into now and focusing on now, I think is going to play a big role in everything that I do. Because this feels good. This feels right. This feels exciting. And as I said at the very beginning, I feel like I'm cracking open and really finding out who I am and feeling a lot more open to expressing all of these things that I've been holding back. I'm losing the desire to hold back. And I feel like I'm ready to just express it. And I hope that you come to that place too. Because you have that within you. You got to tap into it. And sometimes you can't even force it. Sometimes it's just going to come to you on a night where you don't expect it. And you play loud music in your car and you hang out with great friends and you play loud music on your way home. And then all of a sudden it clicks. And you say, this is it. This is what I want. Got to tap into this. I got to continue this. And I got to surround myself with other people who are on that same level. It's not quite that simple, but it's how it happened for me tonight. Thank you so much for watching. You mean so much. Whenever I go to this channel and I look at the view count, sometimes I'm quite surprised because I don't know a lot of you. Like the last video I did, I'm like, who's going to want to see me talk about this stuff? It's like a journal. But if you're enjoying it, I'll keep doing it because it's very healing for me. And I hope on some level you resonate with it and you learn from it and you feel inspired by it or whatever it is. I don't entirely know. But thank you for being here for whatever your reason is. I look forward to your emails and your social media reach outs and conversations that happen while I build up the strength to turn back on the comments and read them again. They're actually technically on. You can leave a comment. I'm just not going to read it. So you're welcome to submit them into the ethos. And then one day I'll jump in. And I bet you it's a lot less scary than I've imagined in my head. But that's part of my little protective layer that's happening on me right now. Part of evolving is just simply knowing where you're at and owning up to it. And trusting that you will remove that layer whenever you feel fully ready. And I trust that that'll happen soon. Thank you all so much. Until next time, maybe there'll be another video really soon. I don't know. Okay. Whenever that is, I'll see you then.